Hi, my name is Bernd Hamburg. I was using Unity machine learning agents to build a model to play Flappy Bird. Here you will see two scenes, the original one, the original game where I have to play the game. So let's simply try that. I start the game and now I have to flap for the bird. And you will see that the columns arrive and I have to pass through the columns. Every time I click, the bird is flapping. If I don't do anything, the bird goes down. So we see it works quite well, but I have to play the game and it's a little bit boring. So I wanted to build a machine learning model for the Unity agents. And you see the second scene here. On the scenes, we have the Flappy Bird machine learning model. And it's more or less the same as the original game. I just added a brain to the game, to this scene, and the game is set up to use two actions. We have the no actions and we have the flap action. If you set the brain type to internal, you need a final model, a trained model. You find my model, which I trained for you in the ML folder, and you find it here. It's the bird, this bird file, and you simply drag and drop it there, and then you can try to let the machine play the game for you. So let's simply try that. I start the scene. So this time I will not do anything. So the machine should play the game, and you see the bird is flapping, and you see the first columns arrive. Next column will arrive, and you see the bird will flap through the columns. So that's quite impressive and might run for a while. So let's stop that and let's have a quick look how it works. So we have here the brain, we have set up the actions, and what we also have here, what I've had to add was on the bird. On the bird I had a script, the agent script. So let's quickly go there. When I initialize the agents, I want to get my hands on the bird script. I would like to get my hands on the animator, and we have the start position of the bird. So when the bird, when the bird is going down and the game is over, I want to restart the game later on, and I will use the start position to place the bird again. Here we see the script to collect observations. To be honest, I was cheating a little bit here. I was adding one thing to the original game. To be honest, I was adding a few things there, but nothing really big. What I added there to the columns prefab, let's have a quick look at that. I was adding here is ML goal. So just to see what I did there, it's just a simple cube, and this will be the position where the bird should go. So I will tell the brain how far it's away from this cube. So this will be the goal, to go through the columns. Let's go back to the agent. So I would like to find this game object. I will find all the game objects with this tag because we have more than one column, but I would like to find the closest of the columns, and you find the script for the closest columns a little bit. If you go a little bit down, it simply looks for the closest column. There are 5 columns, and we are just interested in the next column, which is ahead of us, and we would like to get the position of this column. So I will read the transform from the closest one, and I will pass this along to the brain. So the position, the vector or the difference from the position of the bird to the nearest column. In the beginning we will not have a column, so I simply pass there a value of 0, and here I add the information. The information of the X and Y position if we have a column. If we don't have a column, we simply pass the 0. And on top of that, we have a third parameter. This is the velocity in the Y position on the Y axis for the bird. So now if the machine decides to make an action, or it might not do an action, I would like to flap if the machine decided to flap. So this is one of these two actions. I will go back to Unity, and here you see the two actions on the brain. Here is element 0, we have no actions, and element 1 is flap, so the machine decided to flap. And here you see the 3 parameters for the observations. These were the parameters we discussed before. So these 3 parameters are here, 1, 2, and the third one here. So if the machine decides to flap, we let the bird flap. If we die, so we either might have collided with the floor or with the on top of the game, or we collided with one of the obstacles, we get a negative reward. If we get a score, we get a reward from 1, and the default reward is 0.1, so we simply survive this step. So if we survive, we get 0.1, or the machine gets 0.1 as a reward. If it dies, it gets -1, and if it passes a goal, then it gets 1 point as a reward. Here we add the reward. Here's the method to get the closest enemy. And on agent reset, we have to reset the game, so we have to reset everything. This means that we have to initialize the scrolling objects again, so every column which is scrolling, the background is scrolling. We have to reset that we are dead, so we're not dead anymore, and the game is not over. So we also set back the game controller, and that's it, more or less. So if you want to train the model, you simply have to do some minor steps. The brain, you have to set the brain type to external. And the next step is you have to build the project. You build the project. Just remember this directory where you are going to build the project. We save it. And Unity is going to build the project for us, the executable. So we have to wait for that. When this is finished, we need an Anaconda command prompt. So we simply type in Anaconda command prompt. And the next step is to move to the directory where you download the machine learning agents, and you have to go to the Python directory, and from there you have to start the script so that the machine starts to try to learn to play Flappy Bird. To start the learning algorithm, you have to enter this, more or less this line of code. You have to run the learn py script, and you have to pass in the path to the executable, and you give it an ID of this run, and you want to train the model. So this now will start your game. So we should see that in a few seconds. And you will see that in the beginning it will not really work quite well. So you will see the bird falling down for a while. Or in this case we see that the bird always attaches on the upper place of the scene, and then the bird will die. So you have to run that for a while. And you will see that we get some information every 1000 steps here in the outcome, and we see how much reward the machine got during the training. This will go pretty high after a while. So if you train this model for several hours, you will see that this works quite well, and then the bird starts to recognize not to fly too high or to crash into the ground, and it will manage to pass through the obstacles. So after 200,000 tries, we see a little bit of a progress. You see the bird is not crashing into the top of the area or into the bottom, and it already finds its way to some of the obstacles, at least sometimes. So we will look back a little bit later. So again a little bit later, and we might see some progress again. So you see the bird is flying through a lot of obstacles already, sometimes hitting them in the beginning. Let's see when we have around 1 million of steps. 1 million is the limit I was setting for this try. So let's come back a little bit later. Okay, we see the model is finished. So we had 1 million of steps. So let's see how the outcome, or where we find the outcome. Let's go to the output. The Python directory. We have the models, the fb_1, and there we have the birds fb_1 bytes file. So this is the name of our executable and the ID. So let's take this one and let's drop that into our project. Here we go. Now we use the brain, and we use the new file on the brain. So we switch to internal and use the new file here on the brain. And let's play Flappy Bird through our trained model. Oops. Yeah. Not the best results after 1 million of tries. So you might try to run, to use more steps, train the model longer. This looks better now. So we see it worked. Okay, very nice. One more thing, you might want to look at this file there. In the Python directory, you have the trainer config YAML file, and you should set here the max steps, because by default it's 50,000 steps. I'm now used to 1 million of steps. You might go further to train your model to have them more steps. So here you see the steps, the summary what we did. So if you want to try that yourself, you need the Flappy Bird game. You have to set up the brain. You have to set up the agent, and you have to build the executable. Don't forget to set the brain type to external. Then build a project, and you might change the trainer config YAML file and change the max steps. Then you start the Anaconda command prompt, and you go to the directory where you download the Unity machine learning agents, to the Python directory, and yeah, then you start learning. Python learn.py, and the path to the executable, give it an ID and use the train parameter. So hopefully you will have a lot of fun playing around with Flappy Bird and Unity machine learning, and maybe I see you again in the next video. Have fun!